Well, welcome to Clifton Market Live here at the cafe at Clifton Market in Cincinnati, Ohio. We're live for the next 90 minutes. We're talking about everything Clifton and the market. And we always have a chair here for anybody who wants to stop by and be interviewed. We always like to get one of the employees and some of the shoppers here. You might notice that we have a wonderful skip my name. Van Gogh's favorite flower, sunflowers. Anyway, there are Wildwood Flora, Elisa. She supplies the flowers when you come into the market. And there's wonderful cut flowers and potted flowers and hanging baskets. And there's a nice selection of these sunflowers. They're all down all along the floor, so all their flowers are pointed straight up because they're trying to reach the sun. So I'm sort of running into a pretty well get my schedule worked out so that every day will have generally the same lineup. We start with market news, then we have volunteer jobs, and then we go into reading what's new in the Clifton Chronicle, and then I pull out an old issue and read the old issue. This issue is the holiday issue in 2004, so it's hard to believe it was 14 years ago. So that's, and then I read the flyers on the street, the CVS, the Ace Flyer, and the Clifton Market specials, and then we go straight to Clifton Town Meeting News on their on the cliftoncommunity.org website. They have a nice street. There's a street naming contest. We'll talk a little bit about the Deer Project, and then the Howell development. I know that everybody's excited about that. And the Clifton House Tours, you can go to cliftoncommunity.org and read about all the houses. I believe they republished the booklet. So it's a fascinating little tour of Clifton right in privacy of your browser. So we're going to straight off go to the market news. We had a board meeting a week from yesterday, and it was pretty sobering. And we realized that we can solve this problem by raising our sales to 160,000 a week. And if we do that, we will prove to the lenders and Loyal Foods and our distributors that we can be a viable market. And with that said, we can do that within a week. Now that the students are back, I think it's going to give us a little extra push, but nonetheless, Clifton has to understand when the students are gone, that means your time is to shop more at Clifton Market, to keep our sales at 160,000. We need to win back all the customers that used to be here for IGA, and at their peak, they were making 200,000 a week. So we can certainly do 160,000. Most people just accepting the fact that they have to participate in their community market. If we're going to have a community market and increase our property values of our households and allow landlords to rent apartments in the region, knowing that they can sell the apartment because they have a walkable community-owned grocery store. It's more like trying to go back to the old days where you're pitching in, you're helping out, instead of just expecting the market to do everything for you. So we need the volunteers. So with our sales up to 160,000, we can then focus on getting the operating capital we never gave the store when they opened. A store this size needs, dare I say, 400,000 in operating capital. And Clifton, Keith has started a GoFundMe page, and we're monitoring that. It's up to over 3,000 right now. But the goal of the GoFundMe page is 300,000. So if we had 300 Cliftonites donate $1,000, we would have our operating capital. But that's not going to solve the problem. That'll get the shelves stocked, and your products will be there after a couple of weeks. But we must have our sales at 160,000, because that's what's going to put us in the black and prove that we can be a community-owned grocery store. And if there's any neighborhood that can do it, it's Clifton. So we'll see. So we'll go straight to the volunteer jobs for the market. There's lots of things to do. I was just heard from Keith and Amy that there's someone wanted to help and they've dropped their name off, and I'm in the process of getting that name. But you don't have to. You can come by the market anytime, or go to the YouTube site where these videos are listed, and you mention in the comments that you want to volunteer, and we'll privately chat and get you something that you can do. Currently, Mark Irie has come forward and is working with Tanette, our HR person, to make ID buttons. So just like this, we're going to make them down at the maker floor at the north annex of the public library downtown. You don't need a reservation. You can go down there and make buttons for 10 cents a piece. Tanette's printing out the colorful logo with the employee's name, and they're on 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper. You take them down to the library, cut them out, and stamp them out. We'll have IDs for the employees soon. We need the rail painted in the parking lot. It's a simple job. Also, there's a grandfathered-in signpost that's in the southeast corner. It's stuck into where a bush and a tree is. There's a nice place there for put some flowers, and also you can paint that sign. It's a classic old-time signpost. We can put a wonderful sign on there. We need somebody to organize the art shows here. Jeremy Meadows' wire sculptures have been hanging here for quite a while, but this is something that you can do, that you can become the curator here at the Clifton Market, where the employees are working furiously to just keep the market open. We don't have the staff for someone to organize the art shows. With Keith's permission, he'll give you everything you need to organize the art shows. I suggest that we have the art shows for 3-month period. That way it'll be easier on the curator and more exposure for the artist displaying. And we have Keith has started a $525 gift card for $500. So if you get a gift card for $500, the actual value of the card will be $525, and you can use that to shop your groceries. So you come here and talk to one of the salespeople, and they're going to print 2 cards up. One's going to have 250 on it, and the other one's going to have 275 on it. So you can use those for your shopping, and you'll save $25 on a $500 gift cards. We'll go to the GoFundMe page, and I'll talk about that. But right now, there's entry level of donations. I think it starts at $50 and goes to $125, and you get a number of prizes. Of course, we would like to see 300 donations of $1,000 to make our goal of $300,000 in operating capital. You can buy shares in the market if you don't have time to volunteer. The share is $200 at this point. You don't really get a lot of perks with the share. Occasionally, Keith might give you 10% off if you're a shareholder. So, but at this point, we need all the help we can. And buying a share will certainly encourage everybody. You can make a loan. Loans start at $1,000, and you can pick your interest rate and the length of your loan. The paperwork for the loan and the shares is right in the foyer, in the cart foyer, right there where you get the wet towel, the wipe for your cart. I have a Carol Cone got a wonderful literature holder, so we can keep literature about the market, the shares, and the loans right there. I've already mentioned the flower bed underneath the signpost. That put some flowers in there, and the parking lot sign. We're organizing a list of shareholders to call. If you want to call shareholders and sort of find out what the market can do, But at this point, it's really what you can do for the market and not what the market can do for you. We need the community to step up and claim their community-owned grocery store. I mentioned the ID buttons are being made. I recently made up a single sheet of the deli menu, and that's another thing a volunteer could do. Take that off of my hands and just keep up with the prices. You're here at the deli all the time, add a few lines. It's a single sheet, and we display them at the deli, at the sushi counter, and also at the office desk. And I also post them up there on the Telford bulletin board and in the Clifton news box on the plaza. You can help train employees. We need someone who's very adept at how to take a share, how to make a loan, and how to get those gift cards processed quickly, and to come in, and when the clerks are not busy, to go over the process and make sure that when somebody wants to give $500, then they can immediately get the cards, and we can have a smooth, seamless process. We're looking for someone to organize programs and meetings in the cafe. We have a great space here. I was once here with a meeting of people who were interested in changing the bus routes or improving the bus routes. We kind of stopped the happy hour because it wasn't really performing well. We ended up with other special events, like we had a band play in the parking lot, and it went off great. All I needed to do was make sure I was in the parking lot at the entrance to make sure people understood what was going on. We need someone to make signs to put up in the senior centers. Every senior center has a van where they take the seniors to a grocery store, and we want those seniors to come to Clifton Market. And so by going to the senior centers, you can start with the one right here on Rue de la Paix and make up a sign, make sure that the driver is comfortable with coming in the store and troubleshooting anything they might have. The senior centers, the seniors at the centers also shop online. We have a wonderful online, and once you go through the process and you get your standard items, you can pretty well quickly click through them all and pay online, and then there's a delivery fee of $10. I believe it's within a 5-mile radius. I have to verify that, but it could be more. But you can always pick up your groceries that you shopped online for. You can stop in. There's a designated parking place down underneath the building that you can spot, and then they'll bring out the groceries. You notice there's a suggestion box on the office, and you could volunteer to take those suggestions, type them up, try to make some sense of it, and get it to Keith, and then you can follow up with these people. This is another very important volunteer job, to make sure that people are getting attention for taking the time and making a suggestion. Paul Calamaris, one of the new board members, has gotten our IT stuff up to snuff. He found out that there were 7,000 unanswered info@cliftonmarket.com emails. So he's reached out to those people, and now he answers them in a timely manner. So you can see that not only is Paul doing a great job getting the response to people who took the time to make an email, but also we need somebody to cover the suggestion box. You've got to understand the staff here is spread razor thin. Our margins are we're running on ether, and we need volunteers. And lastly, the thing to do, you could come in and just get the sweeper, and you could go around and sweep up. I'm sure that would be a great thing to do too. Now, as far as things that have been being done, Keith is working on getting the permits. We have the triple sinks that we need to have the grill outside, so when Clifton Fest is happening, we can have a grill and serve hamburgers and hot dogs and whatever else goes well, grill, tofu, chicken. We have the Google discussion group. If you're a shareholder, you can go to Google Groups, search Clifton Market, and then request to be included in the Google discussion group, and then we can have discussions on numerous topics: finance, marketing, program ideas on the Google group, and this keeps it off social media. We're trying to put a good face on the market and not have so many people really just saying I can't get what I want, and then I have to go to another store. So at this point, we need to learn to adapt. If we're going to survive, we're going to have to adapt, and that means not being the fastest or the smartest or the richest, but changing your buying habits. So when you come into the store, we have a lovely store. There's no question that you can come in and put on a wonderful meal for your family. So if there's an item on your grocery list that you don't have, see if you can adapt to what we do have. I had a gentleman in there yesterday, and he couldn't get his raisin bread. Well, thank heavens we had a loaf of raisin bread for him, so he was able to get his raisin bread yesterday. So I'll be reading the market flyer later, and we have new orange shopping bags. They're very reasonable price. I don't know if you knew we had a dry cleaning branch. You can bring in your clothes and pick them up. We'll be having beer and wine tastings regularly. I hope to get Jimmy, our beer and wine guy, here to talk about a little bit of the new wines. So let's see what else is on my agenda here. And now that I've been able to go through the volunteer jobs, that was a lot of volunteer jobs. So you can always go right back to the beginning of the program and hear about the volunteer jobs. Now I'm going to go quickly to the Clifton Chronicle. It's been in the mail. This came in the mail last week, and online you can read the complete 31 pages. We print and mail out 12 pages, but you're really missing the story by not going on cliftoncommunity.org and then going to the menu and click on the Chronicle, and that will give you the links for the past 20 issues. So the big news in the Clifton Chronicle was the new library has been moved. The post office has moved to Ludlow Avenue. It's Veronica, our clerk there, says it has everything. It's fantastic, and she's so happy that we're on Ludlow. More people will use the branch office. It's one of the most visited branch offices. It's also one of the few ones left with only one clerk. So she's very excited. She always says we were down in Ormond, people would always come in and say, gee, I never knew there was a post office in Clifton. Well, now that more people will know about it. Oh, hey, Rich. We're broadcasting live. So, I don't know if you knew about the Preserve Burnett Woods organization. They've rapidly gathered together in response to the possible move of the Clifton Cultural Arts Center. There's a proposal to the Parks Department to put the building in the park, and Preserve Burnett Woods started a group, and we hope that they can sustain their initiative and be able to perform things in the park, everything from cleaning up to taking care of honeysuckle and invasive plants. But the one thing that they have started is every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. at the Trailside Nature Center, you can take a walk through the park with an expert, and they'll teach you many things that you'd be surprised just walking through the park. I'm always impressed with the birders. They can hear a bird, know what kind of bird it is. They know where to look for the birds. So there's a story in the printed edition about the Preserve Burnett Woods group, and there was also an opinion about the Burnett Woods being the ideal home for the CCAC. In this meeting with the Parks Department, they had the CCA present, they had Preserve Burnett Woods present, and there was also an outdoor group that takes children or young adults to the North Woods of Canada, and they wanted to have a presence in the urban area. So Burnett Woods is a possible place where they could stage some activities for any inner city youth to experience the woods. And so the three groups presented, and then they had breakout sessions, and the Cincinnati Parks Department is going to engage the community to get as much information as possible, and we'll make a decision about the CCAC. I just noticed yesterday that the CCAC banners have come down at the front of Clifton School. So it's been a long struggle to get the Art Center running, and they're doing a tremendous job filling in the blanks for where to stage all the events, the 60+ events or classes that took place in that building. There's a nice story about the Clifton Music Club. I didn't know about this club. It was founded in 1917. You can read about the Clifton Music Club. Clifton Fest is returning October 5th and 6th. It's going to be the same as last year. They're going to close the street on Saturday, and there will be some chalk drawings. And on Friday, there will be Ludlow Wines is supplying wine by the glass in the plaza, and there'll be a band on the plaza. Apple Fest at Emmanuel Presbyterian Church will also be having their Apple Fest during Clifton Fest, so you can go right around the corner. Lots of activities for children, and you can get one of their famous apple pies. There's a nice story about the Clifton Rec News, what happened this summer, and there's listings of 4 different activities in the Cincinnati parks this fall. You can always go right to cliftoncommunity.org and click on the menu and go to the Chronicle, and you can get the online Chronicle as a PDF. You can download it to your smartphone. And the last story in the print edition was the Chronicle chats with Jimmy McLaughlin. He's one of our players in the FCC, and he talks about Clifton and the 2 girls that are starting this. It's called Clifton Chronicle Chats. Is Lucy Whedon and Ava Jane Meyer are interviewing somebody for every issue in the Quarterly Chronicle. So we went on to the first page of the online Chronicle, and we show Elisa June is owner and grower of Wildwood Flora and Plants and cut flowers. They're displayed right here in the foyer of the market, and I have one of her sunflowers right here in a pot. She has about maybe a dozen of them up there, plus cut flowers and some invasives. She worked with Maureen and Steve and Ben to put the flowers in the boxes up top, and we worked out a watering system so that we don't have them die like the ones that Elisa put in first. They died. I didn't take notice of it until it was too late. But anyway, now we have beautiful thriving flowers, and we haven't had to water them because it's been basically raining every week. So there's also a story on the cover of the online issue about someone looking for a kidney. So if you have type blood O, you might be a good candidate. There's a wonderful story about the Clifton Branch Library. Eric Davis has given us a great lowdown on programming, and they're starting to have quarterly TED Talk events. So that's new at the library right up the street. The New School Montessori annual camping trip. There's a great story about the New School's camping. Kim Fender is retired from the Cincinnati Public Library. She was very instrumental in getting the new library up and running at the Boss Cox house. And then some stories about the Little Sisters of the Poor. They tend to the elderly, and they always have a fundraiser every year. And then there's a nice story about the Clifton area neighborhood school moving to the Clifton School in the fall. 2019 to 20. So we'll get to the events, and I'll let you know. Gee, I forgot to mark down when I started talking about the Chronicle. I wanted to make sure there's a timeline. So I guess it was more like 20 minutes into the program. And the volunteers, I could mark that down. And, market news. That way I don't have to go through the video and get the timeline off of it. I can just use it as I go along. The Skirball Museum, part of the Hebrew Union College, is having an exhibit by J. Miles Wolff, the Jewish traditions and the population of it's called Jewish Cincinnati, a photographic history by J. Miles Wolff. It's archival photos plus photos of his own about the Jewish experience in Cincinnati. There was a Clifton Market received an award from Uptown Consortium this summer, and here are the new Clifton Market Board members. The votes have been counted, and Clifton Market Board welcomes new board members: Bruce Alt, Tom Dwyer, Carol Friel, Paul Maris, Kenneth Singh, and Ed Stinick. They will join Gary Crawford, Alex Sturz, Larry McDowell, Sean McChance, and Irma Harkemeyer on the Clifton Market Board. Well, thanks to all the candidates that stepped up. We have a full slate of candidates, and we actually had more candidates running than slates possible. This is a big plus for Clifton. It's also happening in the Clifton Town meeting. We had more candidates running than seats available. So I mentioned earlier about the Little Sisters of the Poor. They served up spaghetti and smiles for their annual fundraiser. They've been caring for Cincinnati's elderly poor for 150 years. Down the street in the old Corinthian church is DePaul Cristo Rey. It's a school. They're breaking new ground. There's a big dirt hole in the middle, in the front there. So that's what's happening there. They do a great service for underprivileged children, making sure that they go to college. And there's a nice story about Cincinnati State Technical Early Childhood Program. Also, Seventh-day Adventist Church blessed the men and women in blue. They had a ceremony to bless our police officers. There's a lot of wonderful photos by Rama Kasturi of Burnett Woods. And there's a nice story about Cincinnati Playhouse bringing Stephen King's Misery to the stage. So I'm reading from the online Clifton Chronicle. You can find it at cliftoncommunity.org. Go to the menu and click on Chronicle, and you'll get all the past issues. And more photos from Memorial Day from Rama. And there's a story about Cincinnati Art Museums re-envisioning the art and architecture of the Near East. They've received a $500K grant to do that. And then we go to the calendar. Every online issue of the Chronicle, we have a yearly Chronicle calendar. It starts off with monthly events, and then it goes all the way to the time we left off, early August. So it's when the various events, as we can fill them in, they'll be in the calendar online. And let's see if we can. If you ever wanted to know what the Clifton Plaza Management Group is, it's the CTM representatives are Christine Seltzer. She's the new president of CTM, Buddy Goose, and the Clifton Business Professional Association representatives are Lydia Zeck and Patrick Borders and Jack Brand. And Lydia has been doing the music bookings. You can speak to her by going in. Lydia's on Ludlow and getting booked there on the plaza. We recently just finished the Clifton Town Meeting golf outing on Saturday, and we raised about $10,000, and it's going to the community fund. The Clifton Community Fund is part of the Greater Cincinnati Foundation, and they work for the beautification, preservation, and cultural enhancement of the Clifton community. So that's and on the back page of the Chronicle, and every issue is an aerial map of the city of Clifton downtown, and surrounding it is the phone numbers for every shop. So you can print that out and keep it on your refrigerator. You'll find updated phone numbers for every shop in Clifton. That's the online Chronicle. Let's see what the lineup is here. We're into the first half hour of our broadcast today. Let's go to the archives. I got a big binder with all the issues of the Clifton Chronicle, and I've been picking out the old issue, and we can read some of the fun stories from 14 years ago. But in the meantime, I want to check something. Last night was the last performance of the Drowning Girls at Clifton Performance Theater. The Drowning Girls, their last performance was last night. It's at Liberty Hall over in Northside. They also have a performance theater up the street from CBS where children's programming and theater workshops. I wanted to do a search here about E.P. Harris. E.P. Harris was the old editor for the Clifton Chronicle when I started working for it back in maybe 2004. And I just recently learned that he passed away this spring. He was 79, and he passed away peacefully on May 7th, 2018. He was born to Virgil and Wilma Harris on September 12th in 1938 in Greenville, Mississippi. He met Marilyn Marion at the Monmouth Drive-In in Natchez, Mississippi, between her junior and senior year of college. Fresh out of the Navy, he attended Millsaps College, where he earned a BA in Greek, German, and history. He graduated summa cum laude and was named to Who's Who of American colleges and universities and was a Woodrow Wilson Fellow. E.P. asked Marilyn to arrange their wedding between his summer abroad in Germany and starting graduate school at Tulane University. At Tulane, he earned his PhD in German language and literature. Marilyn and E.P. spent a year of his graduate studies at the University of Berlin. While there, he helped Marilyn learn German in their less than comfortable $14 a month apartment, something out of La Boheme. After surviving that year, Marilyn knew they would be together forever. After New Orleans, they moved to Cincinnati, where E.P. taught German at UC for 35 years. During that time, he served as head of the International Association of 18th Century Studies and edited the Lessings Society Yearbook. He shared his love of theater by directing students in a number of German plays. Longtime friend and UC colleague Jerry Glen remembers E.P. E.P. and I joined the University of Cincinnati German department as young assistant professors in the fall of 1967. Over the years, we matured together professionally and I came to treasure him as a dear and trusted friend. He was internationally recognized scholar and a fine teacher. I vividly recall one of his classes I visited where he had the students enchanted with his creative and convincing analysis of the elements of Germanic mythology presented in the film The Natural. EP and Marilyn lived for 42 years in their Clifton home, Pine Ridge, built in 1903 by the well-known Native American painter John Hauser. EP and Jerry Glen co-authored the book about Mr. Hauser's life, which cemented Hauser's place in Cincinnati art history, along with Farney and Sharp. He will be missed by colleagues, friends, and family in Maryland, his devoted wife of 54 years. He is survived by Celeste and Connor, his beloved cats. Friends and family are invited to attend an informal visitation. So, he says memorial donations can be made to the International Wine Festival Charity Fund. You can Google it at winefestival.com. And online condolences can be left at springgrove.org. So, I'm sorry that EP's passed away. He was a brilliant man at organizing people to get together, and he produced the Clifton Chronicle with a staff of almost 30 people. I took over the production of the Chronicle, and slowly we whittled down to just myself as the staff, and finally CTM hired someone to produce it, professional, every quarter, working with CTM board members to get the news out about Clifton. But the old issues are really something to see. Numerous pages, endless comments about Clifton, columns galore, every issue. Says the headline of the holiday issue in 2004 is "Thanks for the Memories. The human memory is fascinating." So the gist of that is favorite Christmas memories. And then there's a story about the Lantern Walk. The Lantern Walk was started by Connie Matzgoff, and it's been taken over by CTM, and there's always a lantern making class at Fairview Clifton Language School. We gather the weekend after, on Sunday, the weekend after Halloween. It's coming up this fall. We got our new advertising manager, Janet L. Ross. I worked with her for a while. It says Cincinnati expands recycling efforts by Carolyn Miller. Sense of Place by Cindy Herrick. A new Fairview School building update by Cindy Herrick. Architect was chosen. Enrollment considerations. And here's CTM News and Views by Betsy Black. New faces on the CTM board. 10 new members were elected to the 21-member board, including George Bishop, Carol Brammer, Dan Deering, Peter Delgado, Mike Elovitz, David Keefe, and Steve Slack were elected to fulfill three-year terms. Tom Osborne and Andrea Rosenthal will fill unexpired terms for 2 years, and Jim Seegers will serve out the 1-year opening. So, and we have the Rec Center News by Dale Doberman. The Library Corner, Eric Davis has been producing the column and the library column and the Clifton Chronicle for going over on 15 years. We got Spotlight on a Cliftonite by Sandy Cohen. Let's see who she's named. Charlie Currow comes to mind. Charlie Currow has lived in his house on McAlpin and walked the streets of Clifton for 55 years. Charlie's spirited, widowed mother brought her 4 children from Sicily to Cincinnati when Charlie was only 2 years old. He has led a very accomplished professional life, starting first with the Federal Reserve Bank of Cleveland. And then we have You've Got to Have Art column by James Patrick White. And many baby boomers may remember Carole King's classic, It's Too Late. So he's talking about Donna Talarico, well-known Clifton artist, and the story is about her. She's been producing fantastic art for many years. She was years and years ago. She was the sketch artist at Kings Island, but her paintings are par excellence. Here we have Clifton Underground, which is about Spring Grove Village from Phil Nuxall. He's featuring landscape developer Adolph Strauss. And we have the Avenues, Clifton, Ludlow, and Jefferson by Will Sykes. And the story is Clifton restaurateur finds home here. And it's about Biagio's Bistro. The owner of Biagio's Bistro in Clifton is an ironic paradox. Regulars are on a first-name basis without knowing his last name. Biagio approaches my table one night as I'm finishing up dinner with my parents. What's your mama like for a dessert? He asks. Without thinking, I respond, she likes your balls. Before catching myself, he calmly winks and sends over a pyramid of Bavarian cream puffs on the house. Well, thank you, Biagio. I love the dishes, and we were reading the menu the other day from Biagio's wonderful pasta dishes and a fantastic Reuben sandwich. And then we have the Cook's Corner by Marilyn Harris, Christmas wreath salad. Yesterday I read Marilyn's recipe for tomato sauce. And Cheers, a column about wine from Minnie Stouffer. Then there's a story, Escape to the Esquire, from Lee Stratton, going about everything Clifton at the Esquire. You can see it's just endless stories. We have the chalkboard. It's all about Clifton schools, holiday choral concerts, Clifton Kids, and Christmas of 1832 by Jenny Burton. Litzy of Cincinnati is a book for children whose main character, Litzy O'Donnell, tells of growing up in Cincinnati in 1832. You can go to the Clifton Library and get Jenny Burton's book, and it's also a study. They have a number of copies at the Fairview Clifton Fairview German Language School. Or actually, it's the Fairview Clifton German Language School. So that's Litzy of Cincinnati. It's a beautiful book about a young girl telling about growing up in Cincinnati in 1832. It mentions that the carriage rides are coming back, which is certainly true for holidays on Ludlow. And we have the Senior Center News by Candace Richardson. Neighbors in the news, Lou Zimmerman is mentioned, Jim San Filippo and Pearl Kidlaw, Small-Time Gardener article by Brenda Faltz. There's a story about Wolfgang Rischel, a painting that he did of Harlem soul food. Welcome Midwest Culinary Institute by Marilyn Harris. I believe the institute is housed in Cincinnati State's campus. You can go down to the restaurant there and experience the culinary treats being taught. I forget the name of that restaurant though. Anyway, there's a sign right there on Central Parkway. And it says Happy Holidays from our team, and it looks like about 30 people. I did watercolor drawings of every one of them, and it was a fantastic staff back then. And E.P. Harris was able to gather up so many people and work tirelessly on putting an incredible Clifton Chronicle together. So thank you, E.P. So let's see what else, how our schedule is going here. We're going to go straight to the flyers now. I'll be reading the specials at Clifton. Let's see, we're in our 44th 44 minute. Let's get straight to the flyers. Probably the biggest flyer news this is the ad for Clifton Market in the BearCash coupon, BearCash.com. On page 2 is a quarter-page ad, half-page ad from Clifton Market. It's a student college discount, 10% off your grocery purchase. So students with a valid ID, valid with coupon, and any student or college ID, you can come to Clifton Market and have 10% off your grocery order with the coupon in BearCash. Tom did a great job of putting that ad together, and we always like to give gift cards of $5 or $10 to the UC students we know, try to encourage them to come down and make Clifton Market their place to shop, supporting the community and allowing us to have a community-owned grocery store. Let's see what else we're going to go to. The CBS Pharmacy flyer. There's a lot of ads on makeup. You can buy one, get 50% off. That's pretty much across the board. There's lots of vitamin sales. We've got lawn chairs, 50% off. New makeup from Burt's Bees, Stay Satin, All May. Sales on hair color, five extra bucks rewards when you spend $15 on any of the hair color. Volume shampoo. We have everything back to school for the kids at CVS. Many vitamins are for sale at CVS. I hope that they can get their air conditioner up and running again. I know it's been under the weather for a while, but the units that they have in there are doing a great job keeping the place cool. Here's the Ace flyer, Red Hot Buys. They got mason jars, large and small. My sister just finished canning up her raspberries, blackberries. They got a little tiny wet vac, 2.5 gallon wet vac for $19.99. For your furnace, you can buy 2, get 1 free furnace filters. Take advantage of that. And they have you can buy a Craftsman toolbox for $149.99. And when you do, you get a free 104-piece mechanics tool set, a $99 value. So there's for the person that loves tools in your family. They're selling an Igloo Quantum Max Cold with a cooler it's on wheels with a handle. That's $29.99. There's a Black & Decker lithium-ion 12-volt driver and drill for $24.99. Got a selection of e-cloths, sweepers, Swiffers. We got Duracell batteries on sale. And on the back page, some flex tape, and you can get $19.99 Rockwood Premium All-Natural Lump Charcoal on sale. That's our sales on paper. I'm going to go ahead and read the flyers for. Let's go back to YouTube and check and see if anybody is signed in on. On my local broadcast, you can always post your comments on YouTube, and I'll try to answer them. So we're just going to say, I'll just make a mention, a comment, and we'll try to answer your questions. I switched over to YouTube from Facebook because you could download the episodes, and you could also track the subscribers. But on Facebook, a lot more people popped up and said hello or waved, because Facebook immediately put your name up when you go to when you start viewing the video. So we're going to stop that. Let's see what we have here. We're going to go to the Clifton Market Flyers ad specials for this week, and then afterwards we're going to scan around and get the news off social media and see what's that. So the flyer ends on the 28th, and I believe that's today. So we have USD Choice Top Sirloin Steak at $5.99 a pound. We have bone-in centered cut pork chops, $1.99 a pound. 4 for $5 avocados. California red seedless grapes are $1.49. Got Prego spaghetti sauce, 2 for $3. V8 Splash for $1.69 each. Crystal Farm shredded or chunk cheese, 2 for $4 each. And hash brown simply potatoes, 2 for $5 each. So that's the sale, the specials there. And now I'm going to go. That's reading the flyer news. I guess I need to. I'm trying to get all the menus for the restaurants. But let's see, 5120. We're going to go over to social media and see what's trending on social media. So go to next door. That's always a great place to start. We find that. Oh gosh, it never holds my name, so I always got to re-type it in. If I remember my password. Username. Oh gosh, I'm not getting it. Darn it. I hate that. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't remember my next door password. Oh, very bad. Let's go to something else. Instagram. Let's see what's trending on Instagram. Claudia Gaslight is in Alms Park. Let's search for Clifton Market and see what they have on. On Instagram. It's a cute. We got top sirloin steak, potato and salad makes a great Sunday night dinner, served with the Velvet Devil, 2016 Merlot, or a Francis Coppola Diamond Collection Sauvignon Blanc. Don't forget dessert. We have apple pie and fresh fruit tarts in our bakery. See our ad, and we just mentioned the ad, so we're going to like that. Let's see what else it said. We had Ruby Red Trout is $13.99 a pound. Save $1 this week. That was 3 days ago, so I'm sure it's still effective. It's good. If you're looking forward to the fall and Oktoberfest, then stop in. Oktoberfest and fall seasonal beers are here. And here, the last one I'll mention on Instagram is Michael and David's Freak Show and Petite are on sale for $14.99. Regular price $24.99. Stop in today. Sale ends August 31st or while supplies last. Oh, I can't remember. Next door logo. Yeah, I'm going to have to write that down. Let's go to Chrome. See what we have in the queue here. We're going to go back to the internet and see what other tabs I have. Well, we got the fundraiser for Clifton Market. Let's go see what the total is on the GoFundMe page. and it's at $36.50. Thank you very much for everyone who donated. Let's go to the donations. As I said before, from a $50 donation, you get a free pizza. $75 donation, you get a free pizza and $5 off the $25 purchase. For a $100 donation, you get a free pizza, the $5 off the $25 purchase, plus 10% off a grocery order. So you could do all your grocery shopping, and instead of being $100, you would probably get a savings of maybe if you spent $250, it would be $25. And then for the maximum donation of $125, you get the free pizza, $5 off 25, 10% off a grocery order, and you get your own. You become a member of the coffee club. Coffee for a year is free. You get your own Clifton Market coffee mug. And of course, these are just very small amounts to donate, but it's a great perk, and we're really looking forward to 300 Cliftonites, or people that shop the market, to donate $1,000 so we can raise our operating capital. There, it says Tom. Forget that someone come in. 71 Sound says, oh, I missed what he had to say. Let's see if we can call him up, and we'll read what his comment was. That's good that here it says, 78 Sound says, forget the donations. Hire a real smart store manager with big balls that has store experience. Well, Keith has a lot of experience, and so does the staff at Clifton Market. I don't find that we have an issue with the staff. The staff is doing an excellent job of making the market a market. We're using basically nothing. We're running on ether. We never supplied the store with the operating capital that it needed to start up. A business this size needs at least $400,000 to keep in a circular fund so that they can keep the stock shelf, the suppliers paid, but we never supplied the market with that operating capital. So besides our two goals is to raise our sales to $160,000, take the pressure off from distributors and the staff and the banks, and then we can go ahead and focus on getting the operating capital that we need. So that as far as bringing in shoppers into the store, we can't stress enough that it's the community that comes to shop the market. They have to support our community-owned grocery store in a way that brings sales up to $160,000, so that the banks and the distributors can know that we have a community that will come together as a group and lay aside any issues of not coming and supporting the market. Let's go back to the internet and see what the comments of those who donated. Brian Frank made a comment yesterday. He said, Clifton Market has the fresh produce at great prices, keeping Clifton from becoming a food desert. Thank you, Brian, for that. Let's see what else. Let's see what's playing at the Ludlow Garage. Rumors a Fleetwood Mac tribute band is playing Friday, August 31st, from 8:30. The show starts at 8:30. Doors open at 7. So it's right up here. Dave Taylor and Claudia and Gaslight Properties has taken over the Ludlow Garage, and they've revamped the menu. There's a new chef, and they're working to getting fantastic shows. So that's the latest. It's the latest band that's playing there. Let's see what else. Clifton Plaza home page. We're going to see who's lined up for music this Friday and Saturday. Upcoming events, we got Friday, August 31st at 7 p.m. Mal Crow and Company plays. That's this Friday at 7 p.m. Mal Crow is a 3 women, a violin, a guitar, and an acoustic bass. It's an acoustic trio playing at 7 p.m. at the Plaza. And then on Saturday, September 1st, at 7 p.m., the Marsh Brothers Jazz Collective will be performing starting at 7 on the Plaza. Friday, September 7th at 7 p.m. is the Jazzopoulos. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Jazzopoulos. Well, anyway, they'll be playing at the Clifton Plaza at 7 p.m. That's September 7th. Okay, let's go back to what else is here. Let's go to Lydia's on Ludlow and see who's playing there. There's a they're hiring, now hiring. I'll go back to my notes here, and we'll be able to read. Lydia has jazz on around noontime on Sundays. Let's go back to. Well, I'll go in read the lineup for the Esquire Theater. I was able to pull off the stories off their marquee, and we have "Sorry to Bother You" at the Esquire Theater. In an alternate present-day version of Oakland, black telemarketer Cassius Green discovers a major key to professional success, which propels him into a macabre universe of power calling that leads to material glory. So that's Sorry to Bother You. It runs an hour and 51 minutes. Then we have this is the lineup at the Esquire Theater. 3 Identical Strangers, PG-13, 1 hour 36 minutes. 3 strangers are united by astonishing coincidence after being born identical triplets, separated at birth and adopted by 3 different families. So there it is, 3 Identical Strangers at the Esquire Theater. And then we have 8th grade, 1 hour and 33 minutes. 13-year-old Kayla endures the tidal wave of contemporary suburban adolescence as she makes her way through the last week of middle school, the end of her thus far disastrous 8th grade year before she begins high school. So there's the story. It's rated R, 8th grade. You can join the Esquire's Critics Club. I suppose you can go there, or you can follow them on Twitter. That reminds me, I have to start up the Twitter feed to make sure that I'm right together on social media. Also, Clifton Market has a great presence on Redit. Papillon is playing at the Esquire Theater. It's based on the international best-selling autobiographic books Papillon and Banco. Papillon follows the epic story of Henry Papillon Charret, Charles Hunan, a safecracker from the Parisian underworld who is framed for murder and condemned to life in a notorious penal colony on Devil's Island. I think you remember. It's Papillon, 1 hour. I mean, it's rated R. It's 2 hours and 16 minutes. Then we have Scotty and the Secret History of Hollywood, 1 hour and 37 minutes. A deliciously scandalous story of Scotty Bowers, a handsome ex-Marine who landed in Hollywood after the Second World War and became a confidant, aide-de-camp, and lover to many of Hollywood's greatest male and female stars. So that's it. Sounds like a wonderful movie. And then the last movie at the Esquire is Black Klansman. It's rated R, 2 hours and 15 minutes. It's from visionary filmmaker Spike Lee comes the incredible true story of an American hero. It's the early 70s, and Ron Stallworth, John David Washington, is the first African-American detective to serve in the Colorado Springs Police Department. So that's the story. Determined to make a name for himself, Stallworth bravely sets out on a dangerous mission to infiltrate and expose the Ku Klux Klan. So there's the lineup at the Esquire. Type that in, then we'll... Let's go back to the social media. 104. see if I can see what's on the queue here. Maybe we can actually get to Reddit. Oh, here's the lineup from Lydia's on Ludlow. That's August calendar. Let's see. We have Chris Lee Acoustic on Friday the 31st. Shows start at 7 and they go till 10. So this Friday on the 31st, Chris Lee Acoustic is playing, and Thursday night at Lydia's is open mic night from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. That's Thursday, and Wednesday is the Gypsy Diane, the Gypsy Jazz de Jam. I think that might be Reinhold's type music. It'll be playing from 6 to 9 p.m. on the 29th, Wednesday, at Lydia's on Ludlow. And on today, Tuesday, we have Tarot Card Tuesday from 6 p.m. to 8:30. So recently, somebody gave me a nice deck of tarot cards. I'm trying to relearn my tarot cards. Thank you, Lydia, for posting up that calendar. Let's see what else we can come up with. We'll search for Reddit. Read some comments on Reddit. Clifton Market has a nice thread there. It's amazing how much news gets disseminated. Tom, if it's not making money, it's the staff. Well, that's a tough question. I don't think we really have the community coming together and shopping at the market. We have a lot of people who aren't willing to adapt. This is a fantastic community project, and you can't have something like this start off with the community making decisions to not shop here for one reason or another. We need the community to adapt to what the market has. When you come into the store, there you'll have no trouble at all to find the wonderful food put on the table for your family. There's no question about the fine produce or seafood or the cut meat department. So there's a few things that you can't get. Remember, we could solve this problem in a week by, one, raising our sales to $160,000, and two, raising the operating capital we promised the store in the beginning. So we have a new beginning to do this. It's not our target audience is a young Clifton family with a mother and father with children, and we need their support to come in and take advantage of their community-owned grocery store. It's a great resource, and we don't want to lose it because our property values will go down. Landlords won't be able to rent apartments with the perk of having a grocery store right nearby. Let's see. Trying to pull up Reddit. They have a wonderful thread on Clifton Market in Cincinnati. So let's see if we can. Well, that's not the right. Let's go to a little. Seems like there's another business named Redit. Of course, anybody would want to do that. See, we don't want to install it. I don't want to install it just yet. I just want to go to it. See if we can get it online. The front page of the internet. So Reddit's been around a long time. It sort of precedes Facebook. So let's search. We'll want to go to the mobile site. I just want to search Clifton Market on Reddit. Go back to search again. Clifton Market. Oh, we're into our last half hour here. there was a post about the shareholders meeting email that was sent out, and it certainly is a struggle when you read that. But we do have a solution. Here, imagine you a zealous Clifton market hugger. Well, that's probably the best way to describe the community coming together and hugging Clifton Market while they're trying to make a go of the market. Our sales have never been up to 160,000. In order for that to happen, we'll need everyone who hasn't shopped here to shop here 10%, and everybody that does shop here to shop 10% more. Just a simple extra little push will give us sales, and hopefully we have the students coming back, and it'll allow us to get our sales up to something that we can be viable and show our lenders and our suppliers and our distributors that we can come together as a community and have a community-owned grocery store. So let's see what else we have here. I'm glad we were able to queue up Redit. I think I'm going to have to go to CTM News. They have a street naming contest is going on. There's a story about the Deer project and the Howell development and Clifton House tour. So I read some of those yesterday, but today I'm going to read about the Howell development, because they're going to be building on the merchant parking lot. Gaslight Properties is working with the Clifton Business and Professional Association to use the property to build. I think the plans are coming out shortly. More than likely going to be office space, and there'll be 150 parking places for the community, plus parking for the tenants of the building. I know Dave had some initial meetings, and I believe it's in the development phase right now. So let's go to cliftoncommunity.org in the news, and we'll read about the Howell Street development. First, go to cliftoncommunity.org and click on the menu, and then click on news. The second story is about the naming of the street. You can fill in a form, and you can put your name, your email, and your subject would be naming the street, and the Cincinnati Department of Transportation will review your suggestions. So the main thing to remember is why you should write down the suggested street name and why it is a good name, including any significance. So that'd be very important if you're going to get your suggestion noticed by Department of Transportation. Also, they're relocating District 5 office. So there's the 5 sites that are in the queue right now are Central Parkway, Dane and Knowlton, Hamilton Avenue, and the Cons Rheingeist area. The District 5 serves quite a number of neighborhoods. 8 neighborhoods are served by District 5. And there's a great story about the deer. They're looking for volunteer darters and volunteer veterinarians to help reduce the cost. And they list also all the houses on the house tour with great stories. Okay, here, Howell Avenue Development Visioning Report. In the spring of 2017, the Clifton neighborhood approached the Cincinnati Department of City Planning to assist in facilitating a visioning meeting for a proposed development on Howell Avenue between Ormond and Clifton Avenues. Let me see, I'll put that in the queue for anybody who wants to go right to CTM News. So we got 15 minutes left in the broadcast today. So that's it's going to be pretty exciting when they finish the construction. The planning staff met with Clifton Town Meeting representatives and Gaslight Property Development Team on a few occasions over the summer and fall of 2017 to discuss the potential project and the visioning meeting. There were no sketches for the development as of yet. However, the development team has proposed that the site will contain approximately 130 apartments, 7,000 square feet of retail space, and 300 parking spaces in the parking garage, half of which would be designated as public parking spaces. So there you go. 130 apartments, 7,000 square feet of retail space, and 300 parking spaces. The site is a combination of commercial neighborhood pedestrian zoning and single-family residential zoning. As such, a zone change would be required for the site, and a request for planned development would be most appropriate zoning given the parameters of the project. Once the development team submits their concept and plan and a zone change request, it would go through a public process that lasts about 4 to 6 months. Summary of the meeting. On November 8th, 2017, Clifton Town Meeting and the Cincinnati Department of City Planning and Gaslight Property hosted the Howell Avenue Development Visioning Meeting at Clifton Recreation Center. 50 people attended the meeting aside from city staff. The evening began with a brief presentation about the proposed meeting, the background of the project, and examples of mixed-use development. After the presentation, I'm just summarizing here, attendees were instructed to break out into 4 groups to participate in the following exercises: a round robin and a group dot exercise. The facilitator was a city planner, introduced 4 themes to the group: the use of the building, architectural details and materials of the building, the Clifton Plaza, and landscape and parking. Each person wrote down their top ideas or concerns on sticky notes and put them on the group thing. The report out. Once voting was completed with each group, the facilitators reported out to the entire group and named the top priorities from their group. Here's the results from the meeting. The top priorities from the meeting after all of the voting took place were the following, in order of most votes: incorporate the CCAC with the development and Clifton Plaza. That was the top result. Design the development to look like the neighborhood. Second, seek out longer-term residents. Incorporate public art with the plaza. Number 5, set back the building from the street and plant trees on Howell Avenue. Put as much of the garage as underground as possible. Provide for larger apartments, 3 and 4 bedrooms and 2,000 plus square feet. Make it LEED certified. Number 10, step down the building to the street. Number 11, incorporate green space along Howell Avenue. Number 12, minimize parking and traffic on nearby streets. Number 13, design the development to incorporate both modern and traditional architectural elements. Number 14, include a rooftop vegetable garden. Number 14, all the comments from the group discussions, the number of votes for each of them, and the voting for the top priorities are attached to this summary. Another chart included with this report was created that shows comments and recommendations that were in 2 or more groups, but perhaps didn't get enough votes to be included as top priorities for the whole room. Notable ideas were named in every one of the 4 groups, including the following: incorporate the CCAC, the Clifton Cultural Arts Center, with the development and with Clifton Plaza. Boy. Amazing. The results of the survey. Online survey was released on November 16th in 2017. So I'm going to have to see here. They give you a link here to review the full report, and that's at cliftoncommunity.org, Clifton Town Meetings official website. You go to the home page, click on menu, go to news, and at the bottom of the news is the story about the Howell Street development. I'm looking forward to having them update that and get more information. Let's go back. Let's see if we can go to Twitter. That'll be interesting. See what's trending on Twitter, and that's if I have it queued up. I see. And we'll search for. Let's see what. I have a lot of. We've been on Twitter lately, but we can get to the latest news. Barb Howell has done a great job of promoting the market on Instagram, Facebook. She takes care of the website. Recently, I hope to get the deli menu on it. She was nice enough to add some of that. I don't see anything right up the top about Clifton Market, so we're going to search the Clifton Market and see what comes up. Those recent searches. They joined in 2014. There's 230 people following. Once again, it mentions the top sirloin steak is on special, and the ruby red trout. So I think you can pretty well say that whatever's on Twitter is also on Instagram. So thank you, Barb, for putting that together. Let's see what else we have on social media. I'll go up to the tabs. Like one last stab at anything happening. Okay, well then I'm going to go back to the calendar I have in my little cheat sheet put together. Let's see, we're at 1:22. We got 7 minutes left in the broadcast. I'll try to wrap it up here. I read the stories of Chronicle, of the Esquire, and here, that should have been a lead-off story. I'm sorry, Sean Mullaney has a new Blink Clifton style. It was just posted by Mr. Osterman. It says, "Don't miss the newest art installation by legendary local Sean Mullaney. He has coordinated the lights along Clifton Avenue near Lafayette to sync with the Who's Who Won't Get Fooled Again song. His craft has no bounds, and Lord knows he doesn't. In the works is his over-the-top plan to sync the lights on I-75 from here to Florida to something from Gaga." So you can go to YouTube and search Blink Clifton style, and you'll see the YouTube video. Thank you, Sean, for putting that together. Tonight at CC, in the main lobby of the Clifton Cultural Arts Center, is the New Horizons Orchestra Open House. It's today on the 29th, yes? Oh, it's the 28th. I'm sorry, this is Wednesday. This is tomorrow from 6:30 to 8:30. That's going to be the CCAC. They will have instrument demonstrations, time to try instruments to see which might be right fit for you, light refreshments, and additional information. Stop by any time between 6:30 and 8:30 p.m. to meet current members and the director, try an instrument or two, enjoy some fine finger foods, and listen to some music. So that's the Cincinnati New Horizon Orchestra. It's going to have a meet and greet, open house, tomorrow from 6:30 to 8:30 at the Clifton Cultural Arts Center. Might be one of the, and that's all the news here we have. The Golden Ticket show at the Art Center is back, this time with a new venue and a new twist. The 9th annual juried exhibition will be held at the Trailside Nature Center in Burnett Woods. Cincinnati Parks and the CCAC invite you to be inspired by the woods, by the architecture, and by the history of both. The Trailside Nature Center was completed in 1939, a collaborative project between the PWA and the CCC, designed by Carl Frun and inspired by Frank Lloyd Wright. Submission guidelines. Works submitted should respond to nature, to humans' relationship with nature and or the park, or its included architecture. Works can be any media that are not to exceed 7 pounds in weight or 3 feet in any direction. This exhibit is open to artists living or working within a 25-mile radius of the CCAC. Only artists 18 and older may submit works. All fine art disciplines are welcome. All works must be original in concept, design, and execution. You can go to the Clifton Cultural Arts Center website and get the submission the complete schedule and the applications. Early bird deadline is September 8th. The final deadline is September 29th. The show is from November 1 to December 15th. Opening reception will be November 2nd. And that's the Golden Ticket. Now we'll get to the jury. Mary Gray, Director of Ohio Arts Council Riff Gallery. Terrence Hammond, nationally exhibited contemporary artist. Paige Weidman, lecturer, Northern Kentucky University. Cal Cagno Colin, Executive Director of Wave Pool Gallery. And if you have questions, you can write info@cliftonculturalarts.org. So that's the latest in the news. We got a little bit over 2.5 minutes left, and I'm going to just go ahead and summarize what's going on here at Clifton Market. I started this broadcast after the last shareholders meeting, and we're trying to show the community, we're trying to get the community to come together and bring our sales up to 160,000. We can do this if everybody pitches in 10% more. We need people that don't shop here to shop here 10%. We need people that do shop here more. Because with our sales at 160,000, we can show our lenders and our distributors that we mean business, that we can have a community-owned grocery store. The store was originally, when it was Keller's, it operated sometime, when it was doing well, it was making 200,000 a week. So we can certainly make 160,000. The second part of the answer is to supply Clifton Market with the operating capital that we never supplied them with. And we have started a GoFundMe page for 300,000. We can also make a loan. Loan started at 1,000, and you can become a shareholder for $200. So with those three instruments, we want to raise 300,000 to supply the store with an operating capital that we never gave the store. The store opened with no operating capital, and it's almost impossible to do this. We have to really put our hats off for Keith, Brock, and his staff to do the best they can with nothing, no operating capital. We should have maybe not opened the store, because once the store was open, people just thought that the store was open and there was nothing else for them to do. But there is something to do. 1, raise our sales to 160,000. 2, raise the operating capital so that we can have a store that we can hand down to our grandchildren and have a legacy of something unusual in Cincinnati, where the community came together and opened their own community grocery store. We can be a shining model to the other communities that are trying to do the same, like Northside. They certainly are going to have the same problems that we had. We didn't have the best opening, but things have settled out, and now we have to focus on the goal of coming together as a community and shopping like you mean that you want the community to have its own grocery store. We can avoid bankruptcy or foreclosure or selling the building if we do these two things. I think certainly we can get 10% of the community to come together and buy groceries here, increase their purchase power, and raise the operating capital. So I'm going to sign off for now. This is Clifton Market Live. I'm here every day, usually in the early afternoon, talking about everything Clifton and up-to-the-date minute daily news. So thank you very much.